Good evening. My name is Tommy Funko. For those that are unaware who I am, I'm actually normally a Twitch streamer that has now come over back to YouTube after a couple of years of being away from it. I had a bad experience back when streaming was still in beta on here, but now I'm here, and I'd just like to say welcome first and foremost, and yeah, we're just gonna have a nice little chill powwow kind of art stream here. I'm just here to mostly draw and sketch just for, I'm gonna say it straight up, shits and giggles, Um, I will say this, however, please don't bring trolls here because I will just get rid of you personally. Even though I may not have moderators, I have been streaming for a few years now, so I can definitely get rid of people very quickly. That being said, a little bit about myself for all of you guys that don't know me. I have 2 videos on this channel, made them a while ago. I need to make more. I've just been very lazy, and I'll be honest on that. I've been very lazy. I also found it very easy in comparison to just go ahead and, make 3-minute videos on TikTok, giving quick little art tutorials on how to get into understanding certain parts of the anatomy and everything, and it proved to be relatively, it's doing relatively well. Give me 1 second. So, like I was saying, I found it easier to do it that way at times, and I still do a lot of art tutorials on there. I just did a 3-part one the other day. That's also, you can find all my information down in my description. I haven't done YouTube in a little while, but streaming I do. So it's going to be easy. And I also lost my drawing glove. I don't know where the hell my drawing glove went. Oh, and I have nothing to use. I'm not gonna do what I did last time when this happened to me, where I lost my drawing glove, and I actually used one of my clean socks, cut a thumb hole and index and middle finger hole, just to have like some sort of drawing glove. It was not comfortable, and you sweat a lot because it's thicker fabric from that of like a kind of poly material kind of drawing glove. Man, it blows. So first and foremost, let me just also say that if you guys become a lovely subscriber, I'm not sure if my lights will work for you, but they are set up to channel notifications. So like if you do follow me, there we go, Twitch lingo. Subscribe to me, they should flash and do their thing to be like, ooh, my alerts should go off. Controlling my lights, however, I don't know if you guys can do them. You can do it here. I know on Twitch you guys can. I don't know about YouTube. I don't know too well about how this is gonna go, but yeah, basically we have Lumia's stream set up in here so you guys can play with my lights and everything. I also hope that you guys are able to hear me very well. I'm sure you guys can. And if you guys are hearing like background noise, that's the family in the other room. They, for some odd reason, like to blast their TV. Don't know why my family does that. Don't know. So, a little brief background on me. I am a United States Army veteran. I served 3.5 years and got out honorably. I was a 19 Delta, for those that don't know what that is, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are not going to know. It means I was part of the United States Cavalry. I was a cavalry scout, and I know of any infantryman that finds this as a VOD, they're probably going to rag on me. Oh, ho, 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 ho. At the end of the day, I'm gonna say it like this: I don't care what MOS you're a part of and whatnot. We are all brothers and sisters in arms, and you can try to say like, "Oh, that's a cop out," blah blah blah. I really don't care. Besides, we're smarter than you. And you guys just started learning how to read maps more efficiently around Vietnam. Because you guys stole it from our training regiment. Just saying. I'm just going to leave that out there. Oh, and so did the Rangers. That's actually a proven fact. That you guys stole several of our training regiments to add into your training regiments. Like land navigation. And some other things. But we're not going to get into that fiasco. Going into other things, though, aside from that, I am a huge gun enthusiast. So if you are part of the gun tubing community, you love guns and everything, you like following like Kentucky Ballistics, Demolition Ranch, Brandon Herrera, and many others, I definitely watch them all. Even Grantham, and look, I even watch Donut Operator, even though he doesn't really do guns. I love all their content. They're super hilarious looking dudes. Same thing with Angry Cops. I like his content a lot. And I even watch Houston Jones. It's somehow part of their community of friendship. But yeah. I don't have a drawing glove, so I'm going to be drawing without a glove, which is not going to feel great, because I'm going to be dragging my hand across my screen. It's going to really mess up my flow. Because somehow my drawing glove up and vanished. And I had it up here on the desk. That's the weird thing. Am I sitting on it? No, I'm not sitting on it. Damn. Where did it go? Now, shave my beard off and call me Whiskers. Like, really, where the hell did that drawing glove go? See, this is the second time in my life I've lost this thing. I want to cry. But yeah. I got into art when I was 18. That's another part about me. I used to always dog on art and everything. And then I realized I had somewhat natural talent for some art. I cannot draw realism for the life of me. I draw more like cartoony, anime-ish look with, somehow I found out I have a knack for furry art during the pandemic. Did not know I would be good at drawing furries. But, with that being said, a lot of people tend to like my furry art, so that's mostly what I draw now. Back in the day, it was mostly anime I drew. I barely get to draw anime anymore. So I'm not even sure how well I am at drawing anime. Yeah, that's great. Probably lost a skill in art. But when I was 18, I got into art as an outlet. I was trying to enlist into the United States Navy. Oh, I know what you're saying. Wait, you're Army veteran, but you tried enlisting to the Navy. No, not regular Navy. I was trying to enlist into the SEALs Challenge contract program, which I was 3 points off on the ASVAB for that. So I failed, and they decided to try to trade me off to the Army. Ultimately, yeah, I was talking to an Army recruiter at that time, but then the Navy kind of did something kind of petty, and I'm sure some people have had this happen to them where they were going to go Navy and then they decided not to and go to another branch, but they kept holding my records, meaning they were holding all my paperwork for enlistment, so I couldn't get it. And another branch couldn't get me, I guess. I don't know why. It was the weirdest thing. So I froze my enlistment for a year and fell into a bit of a pit of a depression because I've always wanted to serve, and I couldn't at that time because of that. So I froze my enlistment, and I kind of went to I would say it was 4 months of deep depression. And at that time, I was just starting to get into anime. I was 18, mind you. I did not like anime until I was like 18, which is, really awkward for me because, you know, like I didn't know anything about anime, and then I had to kind of like learn it gradually. From there on, um, one night I was watching an anime because I was like literally binging all day anime. Like I would say like 3 seasons of anime a day. I was completing that much anime in a day. It was crazy how I was just like boom, 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 boom. I was destroying Crunchyroll at that time. Mind you, this was back in 2014 when Crunchyroll first came out, so I actually nearly watched everything on their anime list on an Xbox 360. So basically, what ended up happening was one night I got intrigued because I really liked the art style, the creativity behind it. So I took some this is like probably the most like weirdest way of me to get into art. I took photocopy paper and all I had to draw with was Sharpies because I threw away all my school supplies after I got out of high school. So what did I do? Didn't have a number 2 pencil. All I had was pens and Sharpies. So I was like, oh no. So I started trying to mimic the art on the screen. And I didn't do it. It wasn't the best job for a fact, but it wasn't bad for a beginner. I definitely had a basic grasp of like how they kind of do their facial anatomy. So then what I started doing was I needed to get some extra cash so if I wanted to get things. So what I do, I started doing like seasonal work left and right to try to scrounge up what I could, and I started teaching myself how to draw. At the time, there wasn't a whole lot of YouTube tutorials on how to draw anime, because I think at that time, all the big name art tubers, like Mikey Mega Mega, who's a really good friend of mine. Shout out to him first and foremost. Mikey Mega Mega, super cool dude. If you guys ever could try to learn how to draw beautiful anime women, like he draws them really well. Check him out. And Jazza and all of them, they didn't come out until a little bit later. Like Mikey was there, but he wasn't like where he is now. His videos were really blurry, and mind you, I'm looking on an iPhone 4S, and I'm like it was like, where's that line going? Like, that's how I was. I was staring at the screen, like, squinting at it. Because I didn't have much. I grew up rough. I didn't grow up very rich, per se. I definitely grew up not poor, but not rich enough to, like, afford a computer, afford a laptop even. I literally was lucky I had an iPhone 4S in 2014, One second. So, I was definitely not able to do a whole lot growing up. That's a fact. I didn't have that kind of money. And whenever I was able to afford something I felt was expensive, and I think that would be like, for instance, I think I repaired with my uncle once 2 Xbox 360s from the Red Ring of Death, which is, a very notorious thing of the original Xbox 360s when they first came out. So, what I do, refurbished them, and I sold them to GameStop, and I was able to afford a pair of Beats headphones. Well, those Beats headphones were like gold to me. Literally, those things lasted me 5 years before they finally gave out. That's how much like I cherished and took care of that kind of stuff. I didn't have a whole lot, you know. So for me, it was something that I earned by working hard, and I held on to those things tight. I at one point even had a pair of LeBrons that I had to save up for, that I cherished and held for 2 years before actually a year and a half before they finally up and gave out. Something about LeBrons and the plastic end on the bottom of the shoe, you know, it was like when it looks like an air bubble, those plastic air bubbles like sometimes they'll add on to certain like basketball shoes. Yeah, they don't last very long, especially when under a lot of heat in the Miami sun. So they didn't last long. But you know, I still cherished them. You know, like that's how I taught myself and I raised myself to be like, you know, you don't take money for granted because it can go away like that within a day. So, you know, what's happening? Um, it was a real relatively different experience. Like I was working like crazy, and the thing was I was working with the goal to understand anime art, to create anime art, and you know maybe use it to, you know, further make money. But at the same time, I genuinely enjoyed it. Sorry, friends. I get a lot of texts throughout the day and phone calls. It's very interesting. But what was I saying? You know, I was spending like $20 for art supplies, like stuff I felt like I was necessary. I did not buy sketchbooks. That's a fact. I would not buy sketchbooks. It was the weirdest thing. I would buy just plain old copy paper because when Mikey first came out, he kept talking about copy paper. So I said, oh, okay, I'll just use copy paper. And then I realized, okay, no, copy paper gets really messy. Like, super messy. I need something to put this on to make it like a pseudo sketchbook. Sketchbooks were expensive. I'd be honest, like, they were really expensive. I did not understand why paper was so expensive at that time. So what did I do? I took all this copy paper, like a good chunk of it, that I felt would be like roughly a good amount of cushion for me to draw on and everything. And I took a clipboard and would put a stack in there as a clipboard. On the clipboard. And that was my sketch pad, you know, like. One second. A link. I gotta get a link. Can I get a link? Oh yeah, I can. I hate hearing my own voice. I definitely don't have the greatest voice in the world. I don't have a voice like narrator from The Boys. But if I did have a voice like that, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be in voice acting. But like I was saying though, like I genuinely was teaching myself how to draw with the little money I was earning through seasonal work and whatnot, because I genuinely wanted to do art. And what are you gonna do other than either you are gonna pursue it or you're gonna sit on it? Well, I pursued it. Here we are. Now, comes around February of 2015, I got a job, a part-time job, to keep up my progression in art. I was, you know, even trying to apply to colleges that had some sort of study in anime art. Did not work out very well. So a lot of schools are telling me, oh, we're going to be getting a type of program like that somewhere in the near future. And I was like, oh, okay. Keep me in contact. I would definitely like to attend. Well, I started realizing again I still had another goal in life. I still wanted to serve my country. I still wanted to be in the military. Well, come March of 2015, I decided to pick up the phone and call that Army recruiter back. Well, I came back to the recruiting office, and this time we got my paperwork back, and we started doing this training before I had to go off to basic. I forgot what it was called, the Future Soldier Program, I think it was. Yeah, I think that's what it was called, the Future Soldier Program. I did that throughout the summer to, number one, I guess, lose a little bit of extra weight that I had gained. Yeah. And number two, to get me in shape and prepped for the Army. It took a little while to get the paperwork back, but I basically spent my summer with my friends and made sure to build great memories and everything before I left. And then came September, and I was gone. Now, I didn't arrive to Fort Benning, Georgia until September 11th, 2015. I remember that. That was an interesting and tiring 3 days of my life. Because literally for when we arrived at Fort Benning to the 30th AG, number one, fuck the 30th AG. I will say that right now. 30th AG sucked. 3 days of no sleep and constant moving around. I nearly had a 6'5" man fall on top of me asleep. And I'm 5'8". So imagine, I'm like, fee, fi, fo, fum, what beanstalk did he fall from? And I'm just, that poor son of a bitch that's right there, standing as I'm about to be crushed by a giant. It was, the first 3 days of basic training were rough. Then it got smooth. I would say what was smoother, you got to your training unit and you got the shark attack. It sucked, but it's whatever, then, you're in the red phase and it's like, it's constant getting fucked up for no reason. Just because, oh, there's a drop of water on the floor. Push-ups, front leg rest position, move. Yep. Remember that. Then came white phase, and it was really fun. It was just non-stop shooting at the range to qualify and whatnot. Mind you, I never shot a gun in my life until white phase. And then I fell in love with guns even further. Because I liked guns my whole life. But no. The moment I shot the M4, that's it. I fell in love. Actually, I fell in love more when I shot the 240 Bravo, though. The 240 Bravo was so fun. I missed the 240 so badly. Then you have blue phase, where now everything slows down. Everybody's kind of got the gist and everything. And then black phase, you're just learning your MOS, how to do your job, going about things like that. And then gold phase, you're just, hey, yo, I'm done. Let's get out of here. I want to get to my unit. I want to graduate, get my sabers, and I'm out. Then came me getting my unit, and then it was a whole new experience again, because I was born and raised here in South Florida on the East Coast, and then I had to move to Georgia for those 3.5 months of basic training. And, well, sorry, I wouldn't even say basic training. That's called OSET. OSUT. Why don't I want to say OSET? Where the fuck did that come from in my head? OSUT. OSUT sucked. Because you don't lose your drill sergeants. Like, people don't understand. The Marines are like, oh, it's 3 months of hell in boot camp. And I was looking at him like, sorry, it wasn't even 3.5 months. My training was 4 months. It's 16 weeks. What am I saying? And then there's me. 3 months. I had 4 months of drill sergeants. I actually told when I came back home. I was talking to because I was in the ROTC, JROTC, in high school. I came back to meet Captain Fernandez. He was a Marine veteran who ran the program at my school. And I sat down with him, and he told me, "Oh, how was your 2 months of basic training?" And I told him 2 months. And he was like, or 2.5 months. And I was like, "No, I didn't have 2.5 months." I'm like, and he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Sir, in the Army, it turns out you have basic training for people that are in non-combative MOSs. And if you're in combat MOSs, like I was, you have something called OSUT." And he was like, "What's OSUT?" I'm like, think of basic training and your MOS school combined. And you don't ever lose your drill sergeants." And he's like, "Oh, that actually kind of sucks." A Marine veteran even said that kind of sucks. Should tell you something. That should tell you something. So, fast forward, I'm still doing art while I'm in the Army, but now I can buy nicer art equipment. By nicer, I can now add color pencils to the mix. Because I was still doing... and sketchbooks. Yeah, sketchbooks. And fancy rulers. That was my new art supplies. And, you know, every time we would go to the field, I always carried at least 2 sketchbooks with me and, like, a couple lead pencils. And really nice erasers. That was what I would do. Fast forward 3.5 years later, I get out of the Army, return back home to... Because I went from Miami to Georgia. From Georgia, I was stationed all the way in JBLM in Washington State. So I went from being used to the heat to, my lord, I'm freezing. So that should tell you that it was a culture shock and temperature shock for my body for a while. So I came back home, got me a part-time job just to keep me somewhat afloat, along with the money I sold all my leave days for. And I kind of started talking and interviewing schools to get into college. Because I've been away for 3.5 years, I was like, oh, maybe they finally had a program for me to flourish with. Well, my luck worked. I went to college for animation. The only problem was they were also trying to steal money from me. On top of being paid by the United States government for me to go to college for free with my post 9/11 GI Bill, they tried to basically steal more money from me. They were charging me falsely for things on my student account that I don't know what the hell it was. They were literally telling me I was taking extra courses. Fun fact, when you have the post 9/11 GI Bill, you cannot take extra courses. Whatever you are studying to become with a bachelor's, because that's how much it's supposed to last you, is a bachelor's degree. Yeah. You can't do that because they will not pay for extra classes. So what did end up happening? Well, this was actually about a year and a half ago this happened. So I told them finally, like, $700 and something I owe you for classes I didn't take, nor did I sign up for. I'm like, why are you trying to steal money from me when you guys are getting paid by the Army? Logical common sense, right? Well, apparently to them, they're like, oh, how do we know that you didn't take these extra classes or select them? And I just said, why? I explained the GI Bill. That's why. So I told them I won't be paying it because you are falsely charging me for things I never took. And I told them to go fly a kite. And, well, I dropped out of college and now I'm working at a warehouse making ends meet to try to survive while still streaming because in the middle of college, with the money I was getting with my GI Bill, I decided to build myself a nice computer. And it is a nice computer. It holds up really well because I built it from scratch. And I made sure I only bought the best parts. Like, at the time. At the time, the 2080 Super came out. And I bought that. And 64 gigs of RAM and whatnot. And, I bought myself a nice drawing display monitor. A nice 2K monitor, the works, Mind you, I also have my Yeti X over here, and then I have the Elgato face cam here, and then you see that, my pretty little cherry blossoms and whatnot. So, that being said, I dropped out of school because I was tired of them trying to steal my money, and it was a very reputable college, but apparently they're also known for sometimes fucking, assisting students to go into financial debt. So, what ended up happening, I've been working now at this warehouse for a year and a half. I might be moving on to a new company very soon that pays even better. I'm going to say about 5 times better, too. This company pays that much better, actually. 5 times better. Which is really nice. I had the interview on Monday. Let's hope I get that job because, I could do a lot of things with that kind of money. Like, I don't know, maybe starting a gun tubing channel? Oh, yeah. Start my gun tubing channel. Do some cool things with that. But, yeah. There's your brief rundown of who I am. And I welcome all of you. So tonight's stream is not going to be a very long one. I'm going to probably be drawing till about, say 9:30, and then I'm going to get off. But, doesn't mean we can't do something. I haven't drawn like in 2 weeks either. I mean, I finally broke through my artist block that I've been going through for a little bit. Like, I have not had the urge to draw for a little while. And, see what I can draw up tonight. Hopefully YouTube doesn't try to flag this as me drawing pornography, because this is not that content I draw. But, yep, I need reference. So, yeah. Other than that, while I'm drawing with no display glove, which still angers me of where could it have gone? What's on my little artist cart aside from my 32 round extended mag for my Glock 17? Why is this here? Don't worry, it's unloaded. But why is this here? So, yeah. Let's see, what is there to maybe use as references? I don't know, Jim. How about we look online? Oh, that's a good idea, Kyle. Ooh. Very basic pose, though. That's like a basic pose for if you're doing character creation. Not a bad thing. But I'm definitely not that novice. I wouldn't even say I'm novice at this point. I've been drawing since I was 18. I'm 26 now. Fun fact, I'm 26. As hyperactive as I may seem, and as childlike as I may act. Definitely, probably not as old as some people, but older than some of you. Come on, Pinterest, you gotta have something for me here, something good. I want something that catches my eye and says, ooh, I want to try to draw that today. Instead, they're just giving me, like, whap. Yep, they're just giving me whap, whap, whap. They're not giving me anything to work with here. They're just giving me, like, basic starter pose work. And I have seen a lot of really nice poses on Pinterest. Some of them I use to simplify further for beginning artists for my tutorials, because I found a lot of cool poses on here. But I would break them down and simplify them in less shapes necessarily needed to be used to build that same pose with. And it works. It actually worked out really well. That's probably what really gets all my tutorials on there, is I look on Pinterest and I'll see a pose and I'm like, oh, how can I replicate this pose with very simple shapes, like Barney style, simplistic. Maybe do this, see what comes up. Alright, Pinterest, how is a cat sitting down like a human what I wanted? It's not. That's an interesting pose. Let's see if I can replicate it. This feels weird already the moment I put my hand on my drawing monitor and I don't have a glove. Oh, I can feel the drag of my skin against. Oh, it actually gets warm quick though because of that drag. Do I not have a drawing glove? I want to know what happened to my drawing glove. I really want to know if my cats took my drawing glove, because they'll do that when they come in here. They'll knock stuff over and just lose my stuff for me, because that's one way to mess with your human. It's like, oh, let's mess with human by hiding glove. And the worst part is then my shepherd Ruby sometimes comes in here and she likes to take my socks. So she might have thought it was a sock and took it too. Yeah, no, she has like an obsession with feet. It's weird. Me and my family joke about it. We say that she has a foot fetish or something. But like, yeah, she's obsessed with my socks. She'll take my socks. She'll try to lick my feet. It's weird. Super weird. I'm like, can I have a normal animal? Can I have just one normal animal? I guess not, though. What's under here? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Maybe over here? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for either. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to order a drawing glove sometime in the near future now, because my drawing glove is, well, poof. What a bummer. Damn. Anyway, I guess we'll just do this without the drawing glove. So yeah, basically, like I said, art is something I enjoy to do heavily, and I think as of like, I'm gonna say like close to 3 years now, almost 4 years now, I got into digital art because animation school was like, you will learn digital art here. Blah 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 blah. We don't use traditional mediums. And I was like, but but sir, I'm too poor. Poor? Why, you need to have money for animation. You have to have drawing monitor with Photoshop and other things. Which I learned that I do not like Photoshop for art. It's just something about the brushes. They don't feel good. Like, they seriously didn't feel good to me. And I said, so I ended up getting this Clip Studio Paint, which I fell in love with because I used to run, when I first tried getting into digital art in 2015, right before I went to basic training. And I realized that it ended up being a waste of money because you know, I'll explain. So, back in the day when, computer programs required a CD, this was expensive as all hell. This is, and it's covered in a lot of dust. That's how old it is. This is Manga Studio EX5. And if you're as old as me, you remember this. This was a great software. This is what Clip Studio Paint is based off of. But Clip Studio Paint basically took everything that Manga Studio had and enhanced it further to be even better and more enjoyable. Like, their pencil tool was great. It was cool. A lot of their tools were really cool. Their brushes and everything were so different, especially like the calligraphy brushes and everything. It was unique and so different in its right, because this software was made in Japan, kind of like Paint Tool Sai. Well, what ended up happening was, they changed over from their company originally being Smith Micro, that was the original company, and turned into the new company that it is now. And this stopped having support to it, and that happened, I believe, in 2016, 2017, around there. That's when CSP came out. And yeah, you gotta download it digitally, which was kind of cool, actually. I kind of appreciate that. It's a one-time payment, and it's yours forever. And I can't complain. It's a great software. I've had zero issues with it. So, in all actuality, it was an investment that helped better me, which I really, really enjoy. That it bettered me in what I was doing. You know, it gave me more to work with, more to do. It has a lot of capabilities to it. I'm not knocking Photoshop. Photoshop is not a bad software to do digital art on. It just takes a lot of manipulation. You have to know how to really manipulate certain things to really get it to work. So definitely what to expect is a lot. You know, it's not just like picking it up and I already know how to use it. No, definitely no digital art software is that easy to learn. Not even CSP, especially. CSP is actually relatively hard. It takes some time getting used to the controls and everything, but luckily the controls are relatively easy to understand because they use a lot of the same hotkey layout, quick key layout as Photoshop. So it's pretty quick to understand if you've used Photoshop, which luckily I did, and that's how I got to know the software really quick. But that's because I had that luxury in college. But definitely, I would say if you were trying to be like somebody like that has never touched digital art software, you may want to explore the software a little bit before you actually think you're a master at it. Because I'm still learning things about CSP even to this day because they keep adding things. Because CSP is always updating. Because CSP is going to be here for a very, very long time. Let's see. So yeah, super cool art software. I enjoy it. It helps me a lot. So, one thing I did have to learn though, and I'm gonna say it like this: everybody thinks that art. If you've never done art, some people tend to think that art is easy, and that you don't have to charge so much as an artist for commissions. Wrong and wrong. And here's why I'm going to tell you that. See, when it comes to art, all artists have to learn how to do things. Anatomy is the biggest thing you're going to learn if you're going to draw people. Landscapes, it's a different ballgame. Landscapes is understanding how to manipulate shapes and lighting to, well, not really lighting in the actual sense. What I mean by lighting is like how to manipulate paint, different shades of a paint to make a lighter area versus your shadow and darker areas. Which is where the challenge comes into play with that. Digital art, you have a little bit of help from the software. By a little bit, a lot of help from the software. And I will be honest about that. It's like, when it comes to traditional art, you can't just control Z things. You have to erase a lot of things that can prove to be very vital if you don't know what you're doing. God, this feels so weird without a glove. Like, I don't have like the flow in my hand because with the glove it just lets me glide against the screen, and here I'm dragging my hand across the screen because it pulls on the skin. It puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again. So I'm kind of recreating this pose that I found on Pinterest in my own aspect. So what I am doing currently is going ahead and changing it completely to what I want to. But still also keeping the anatomy. So, the eyes look really weird. Why? Why are these eyes looking janky? I'll use the eraser because it's quicker than having to control Z all that. So, so I can shape up the eyes. Already getting her hair looking pretty nice. Not bad. Not bad after not drawing anything anime art in a while. And not bad after not drawing for like 2 weeks straight. Now, mind you, you all can actually learn basic anatomy and everything like this if you just follow my Twitch channel. You'll watch 3-minute tutorials of how to draw certain things, and you can be able to draw anatomy like mine fairly easily. Because I literally just go ahead and turn into Barney and be like, you guys put arcing line here, kind of Barney. I actually just make it sound that easy. Because, like, there's nothing wrong with going into the muscle groups. Nothing wrong with it at all. Especially if you're trying to do, like, Dragon Ball Z characters where they're, like, super buff and everything. But, I mean, at the same time, how many people are actually gonna try to learn the name for every muscle group? There are some artists that go to that extreme. And then there's others that just don't talk about them. Actually, I'm starting to kind of feel a little tired, though. So, fun fact about how I do eyes, I try to make them look very... I do exaggerated lashes because I like that aesthetic on my female characters. I like them to have eyelashes that point off at the edges here at the bottom of the lids. And then I like to do at the top these very long lashes. I think I started doing the long lash thing after I was hanging out with my friends, because a lot of my friends tend to be female, actually, ironically enough. And when it comes down to that, they always told me I have very pretty eyelashes. That's what they always describe them as. I have very feminine looking eyelashes. They're long and whatnot. And they're absolutely right. My eyelashes are very long. So I did that pretty much as a joke against myself because I have these long lashes. And it came out to be a thing I just do in all my art whenever I draw female characters. I always do these long, exaggerated lashes. So that's how that came about, in all honesty. Okay, not bad. Oh, yep. Now the sleepiness is starting to kick in on me. So everybody, I'm probably gonna be doing my streams this weekend on Twitch. If you want to follow me further, follow me on Twitch as well. I tend to stream there more often than I would here. I may start doing content on here again sometime within the near future because I want to, and I feel like, you know, it's a good way to really build myself up is to maybe start coming back and doing content on here as well as on Twitch. I focus primarily on my Twitch because that's where my bread and butter is. That's where a majority of my community is. I love my community on Twitch a lot. Even though it's not the largest community in the world, it's only 500 followers. It's still my community. They're like my little family I built. And yeah. So be sure to follow me on both. And I'm going to try to start integrating maybe my weekdays on YouTube to stream, and then integrating my weekends for Twitch until I start the new job if I get it. Then I gotta replay with everything again. But until then, guys, I'm gonna head off because I want to get sleep. I got work in the morning. As the life of a full-time worker. Until then, I'm glad I got to chat with all of y'all, even though this is gonna become a VOD and whatnot. Bye.